So we should be live right now, but I would say we wait a couple of more minutes until it is 6:30 sharp.
Yeah.
Maybe some people are tuning in at 6:30 sharp. So you want to give them the opportunity to just jump on. So I can see who's jumping on the live session. Right now we have 0 participants, but this gives maybe everybody the chance to get online, see our event, and tune in. So we have our first spectator. Hi.
Hi.
So before we start talking about what you've done in the past and what your goals and plans for the future are, I will just talk briefly about what has happened at our company over the last days, over the last week, which isn't much, to be honest. But at least there happened a few things which I can report. Our Captain Mark is also online. Hello, Mark. Good to see you. We're just waiting for more people to get in to our broadcast. Okay. So everything should be working by now. What time is it? 2 minutes to go. Yeah, maybe wait a little bit more and wait for people to tune in. Yeah. Have you any idea about when you can go back to swimming in the near future?
Well, looking at maybe opening the schools on the 8th of March, so they're not going to review things till February, mid 22nd of Feb, so I think it's going to probably be March sometime.
Okay. I remember Mark saying something similar. So,
reading between the lines, that's
yeah,
it looks like. So more land swimming drills.
I mean, by now you should be an expert doing these drills, right?
Yeah. Very annoying. And strength exercises, yeah.
That's interesting. I've been talking to Matt from Masters of Try in December, and he said there's somebody around his place. He's currently staying in Stockholm. There's somebody with an invention or just brought up a tool which makes it easier to train swimming without a pool.
Yeah.
I think those type of things are high in demand right now.
Yeah.
Mark agrees, and he's obviously a swim coach and is focusing really on this topic. He says it's likely for the UK at least to be March, April.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, there aren't any races scheduled until this point in time, so there's
no.
Actually, I mean later on, but not around this time. Yeah, it's 6:30 European time, 5:30 UK time. Hello, everybody, once again. I think a lot of people are watching the video later on. Right now, we have a couple of participants. If you have questions, please feel free to shoot them over. We are joined tonight by Stuart. Stuart used to be a former UK professional athlete runner, and we will talk about this a little bit later on. Before we dig into this, I just would like to say a few things which kept us busy over the last 7 days and what will keep us most likely busy over the next weeks as well. Last Friday, we had the Team Zoot ride taking place on Swift, and the next one is up for this Friday. Same time again, 7 p.m. European time tomorrow night and 6 p.m. UK time. And as of now, it looks like we are using this ride for taking part of the IRONMAN virtual race series. So if you're looking for an intense ride, feel free to join us tomorrow night. if I remember my ride, and I can remember my ride from last week, was really intense, and it was good to just get a really hard and short session into the legs. So if you're looking still for something to do tomorrow night, that's your thing to do. Besides this, we had been busy selling our indoor trainers, our Jet Black trainers. As I already said, and Jet Black is also our team sponsor, and we are pretty busy with just shipping those trainers, as you can imagine. And we just received today a new overseas container of a couple of hundreds new trainers, and I'm the guy working from home and doing all the back office, so it's not up to me to just do the physical labor, even though I would like to help, but due to safety regulations, it's we split our groups or a team into 2 groups in case somebody gets sick or ill or it has to go into quarantine. I would still be there to keep up shipping. So that's somehow a way for us to just maintain our business, to maintain operating. So the guys at the warehouse unloaded the container today. And yeah, we keep a lot of questions coming in about the trainers. We just had a software update for the trainer and realized if you are using Apple TV as a training platform for example, Swift, there has been a nice feature added to the Apple TV for the Jet Black trainer, which is unique to the Jet Black trainer, because you can use your Jet Black trainer as a hub for all Bluetooth devices. The Apple TV is limited to 3 Bluetooth devices at once, so you cannot pair 4 Bluetooth devices with the Apple TV. But if you want to pair, for example, the remote control, your power control from the trainer, and your cadence control, there wouldn't be anything left for steering device or even easier a Bluetooth heart rate strap. And if you want to use those additional things, you can pair them with the trainer before training everything to the Apple TV. If you are using Apple TV, please feel to reach out and let us know, because in our opinion, it's a nice feature, but not a lot of people are using the Apple TV for riding Swift or their trainers on Swift. But it's something that has been added, and especially Jet Black keeps improving their app, because it's still a little bit clunky. But I don't want to get too far into these details because it's not our main business. Zoot is what keeps us busy. A little bit less this time of the year, but yeah. Besides this, we have been working on improving our web shop. We are looking into replicating everything from the States over to our system and improving our web shop by this. But as you can imagine, this comes with a lot of implications and problems and issues to solve. So this will keep us busy for the next weeks, and I don't hope month, but it will keep us busy for quite some time. That being said, this is everything what kept us busy. We saw a couple of pictures coming in on the Facebook group, which is always nice. We had a member from Texas joining us. She moved, Britta Sims, moved over from Texas to Germany and switched regions. She said hello in our group, and we saw some other pictures from Daniel, aka Bruno, who is having a call later tonight about nutrition, and I think it's about sustainability in the triathlon world. So if you're up for this, you should text Bruno, a personal message via Facebook. He could add you to his stream I think he's starting at 8 p.m. European time, so that could be something you could just watch while being on the turbo or whatever. So that being said, long story short, Stuart, it's nice to have you in our broadcast.
Nice to be here.
You and to just chat about what you've done in the past as a former runner, and what has been special about your journey from being a runner to become a triathlete. And everybody who didn't get this in the first place, we have been supporting Stuart for, what is it, 2 years almost, 1.5 years, and
it's longer, because I was with Lee and the team when they were the UK Zoot for a few years before it got switched to Germany, to yourselves. So I was with Lee and the team and Damon for 3 or 4 years would just been when I was in my running career, and Lee in the UK, Zoot, supported me during my running career. And then obviously when I switched to triathlon a couple of years ago, then the company moved, the UK over to Europe in Germany. So yeah, it's been a few years.
Oh, that's nice. So I mean, switching from just running to triathlon makes it a perfect fit for us.
Lee was always trying to persuade me.
That's nice. I mean, Lee is with Zoot also for a long time, and he knows what he can offer with Zoot. Where do you know Lee from? Do you live close by, or?
I contacted Lee with regards to kit for running and sponsorship, and I helped out at some of the UK events like the triathlon show and things like that on the stand. And we just built up a relationship over the years. So and I still keep in contact with them quite a lot. So we made a couple of friends out of it. So it's nice.
That's nice. But you aren't living close together, or where are you at the moment?
I'm in the northwest, so Preston area. Lee's in the Midlands, so it's a couple of hours from here.
For everybody who does not know Lee, Lee is our sales rep for the UK and is taking care of this market for us, which is a little bit complicated at the moment due to the new shipping regulations and import duties. But we touched on this briefly last time with Mark, and we are working on a solution, especially for shipping you the team gear orders. And you also have something in the pipeline, if I'm not mistaken, Stuart. And we don't know how to do it exactly at the moment, but we are sending some test packages and trying to figure out what we can do in order to get you the items you've ordered as promised. But this is all I can say at the moment, but we will try to we will do our best to get you the items as soon as possible and without any extra cost. But coming back to your transition from running to professional or to triathlon.
Yeah.
Can you say something about your running career? What was your expertise? Or your specialty distance? Your full-time job? How was your running career?
I started running when I was probably around 21, but for about 10 years, I never really took it overly serious. I competed and I was an average standard. And then I moved coaches and was coached by Helen Clitheroe. She's an Olympian and, a steeplechase, 1,500 meters, and had a very long career. And Helen lives close, so I was teamed up with Helen as a coach and sort of started taking things a bit more seriously. So when I was in my 30s, things started progressing, and my main event, I stepped up to the marathon. So I had a bit of success, got chosen to pick for England early on in my career. I ran a 2:25 in one of my second marathons.
Wow.
And then progressed down to 2:21 and was selected to run for Great Britain in the World 50K Championships in 2016 in Doha.
Okay. Well, but starting your debut, more or less, or the second race with a 2:25 marathon is...
Yeah, I think the slowest I've ever run a marathon competing is 2:36. That was
your debut, I guess, 2:36.
Yeah. And my debut was 2:36 at London. Then I got on the elite start line at Stockholm in June. That was a few years ago. I don't know what year that was, but that was very hot. And again, I got chosen for the elite race there because of my half marathon times. So then I went to that race and ran 2:36 again because the conditions I had a bad experience that day. But then I did Dublin that the same year as in the October of that year, and ran 2:25 in Dublin. And then I had a few years of running 2:23s, 22s, and then a few 2:21s, and I was trying to break that magic barrier of the 2:20. Close, but didn't quite make it. But along the way, I got selected for England 3 times, twice for the marathon, 1 for the half marathon, and then in 2016 for Great Britain in the World 50k Championships.
Well, that's quite impressive, and I think everybody who follows can imagine what it takes to just sharp off a couple of minutes more from such times. It's not like, just seconds going even 30 or 60 seconds faster at such a pace can be brutal and maybe bring you over the top and destroy your entire performance for the day.
Yeah, I'd run 2:21 in London, in Frankfurt. I was just so close. It's small margins in that over that distance, and it's usually the back end where it just slips ever so slightly. But I'm quite proud of it. In the marathon I did, I never really had a bad experience. A lot of them were all solid, and that's why in the end I was picked to run in the World 50k, because they knew that I probably wouldn't, I wasn't going to drop out, and I was I was going to get a solid time, and that was a fantastic experience.
I can totally imagine being this a perfect experience. But how is it? For us normal runners, it's always, or more or less every time, the case that we are running with other people in such big races. How is it racing? How's racing at such a pace, or at the front of the pack? Is it like you're just on your own racing all the time? Are there any other people? Do you have paces around you, or are there other runners close to you? I could imagine that the air is really thin at such paces.
Yeah, some races used to put on a pace group with pacemakers to break 2:20, but what you find could be quite erratic. So you couldn't always guarantee that it was going to be a sensible pace, or it'd be up and down. So a lot of the time is you probably be in a group for maybe halfway, 20 mile, but at that level it sort of starts to get a bit broken up at the front end later on in the race. So that's the time when you probably would like a group, but a lot of the time you're solo. So that's when the mental side of it comes in.
And this maybe a good transition to triathlon, because racing a triathlon race is more or less racing yourself, especially long distance.
Yeah, I found that with the I'm quite good at that of racing and training on my. I've done it because it's very hard to get a group that are after the same goals or the same paces. So a lot of my training has always been solo. And then switching to IRONMAN is I learned early on, I was trying to race other people, but a lot of it is, that's you've got to keep to your own plan and pace. And that's why my coach that I now have for IRONMAN, it's one thing that she's had to really install into me, because I'm out and out racer, I ran under 30 minutes for 10k, and I ran 14:45 for 5k. So I've got, I'm used to racing people in them situations. Whereas I think IRONMAN, it's not really that. You're racing yourself, the distance, the conditions on the day.
Yeah, this is I think always tempting to just use other participants as like an intermediate goal in a race. If you see somebody ahead of you trying to get to the front, or to him, to her, but that's where trainers come in, and you can just use your experience from the past and using the knowledge from others.
Yeah, it's been quite a learning curve, especially for the longer distance on the triathlon. Because I always, when I first started out from running to triathlon, obviously swimming's been the big thing. You know, I've no way was I 2 years ago. I couldn't do 2 lengths, you know, without struggling breathing, and that's been a big thing that I've worked on over the last couple of years. And now I wouldn't say I'm an outstanding swimmer, but you know, I'm average, and I've been looking at maybe swimming 110 for the Ironman. The biking came quite naturally. Someone always said to me, a runner can make a good cyclist, but a cyclist would not necessarily make a good runner. So the bike's been, you know, I really enjoy the bike now, and with it, when we're allowed to cycle with a group, I enjoy that side of that. But I always thought that running off the bike, early on, I was saying, oh, I can run this pace off the bike, I can run so fast off the bike. But my coaches had to really try and calm me down and slow me down, especially.
I would have assumed that you fired up when you get off the bike, and I mean, obviously you are, but if you need to calm yourself down, because I would have guessed that or assumed that the race starts for you when you take off your bike shoes and are allowed to go running.
Yeah. Yeah, and the problem is when I was, before I had the first 6 months of my triathlon career, I was only being slight sort of advised. I wasn't being fully coached by the coach I have now. So I was doing a lot of things. So I was running really fast off the bike, and I'd do a session and go, whoa, you know, look at, and my coach was like, yeah, it's impressive, but that's not going to happen on race day, because half Ironman or an Ironman, you need to slow the pace down. So I think the first half Ironman I did was Staffs in 2000.
What is it?
It's an actual Ironman event in Staffordshire, half Ironman. That was my first, and I had the vision that I would run a 113, 114 off the bike. And I went for it early on, but I ended up running, I think, 120, which, you know, it was a learning curve, but it was solid, a solid run. But that taught me that, you know, I can't expect to run close to what I used to be off the bike. So, you know, we've worked on that over the last, you know, unfortunately last year we didn't get to race, but I did a practice half Ironman and Ironman in training last year, because obviously I'd trained for that, but no races.
Yeah, I remember you wanted to you had a big plan in mind and wanted to go sub 10 in August last year.
Yeah, things changed quite a lot last year, because I planned on racing in Europe, and then I decided that with the travel and things, so I switched my entries to, so I planned on racing Staffs half Ironman last year, UK Bolton, and then doing Wales in September. But, you know, I think the sub 10 at them courses will be, it's probably not going to happen because of how hilly they are. So, you know, if I broke 11 there, or, you know, I'll be looking for an age group placing, really.
I mean, this goal isn't going away by just postponing it. So, I mean, there's still a chance to go for sub 10 at some point.
Yeah. Yeah. So this year, you know, it's hard to know whether we're going to get to race again. But the plan was Bolton and Wales again this year. So at the moment, I'm still training towards that. Whether we get to race this summer, or it would be the back end of next year, I don't know.
And people can follow you on Strava, right? You are on Strava, and people could follow just your daily training routine, right?
Yeah, I'm on Strava, Stuart Robinson, and as I've got all my running and cycling on there. Most of it indoor at the moment with the bad weather.
This is always something which I admire you UK folks for, of those tougher conditions compared to here in Germany or in the southern parts of Europe. But even at these times, we can't ride outdoors almost here. I mean, there are some people who do still outdoor rides, and a lot of people participated in the Festi 500 challenge from Rafa.
Yeah.
But that's, I think, something different if you have to train on a Tuesday evening, want to do interval sessions at 7 p.m. That's barely not possible, or way too, dangerous.
Yeah, but in the week, the evenings are no-go for outdoor for around my area at the moment. So I'll try and get out the weekends on a long ride if it's.
Yeah, this is an option. Are you also on Swift? Do you use Swift?
Yeah, I'm on Swift. Yeah, on the turbo and the garage a few times in the week.
Okay.
But I try and get a long ride in on a Sunday, which would be 4 hours solo at the moment. But that's due to.
Yeah, of course. What's your handle on Swift? Is it also Stuart Richards?
Stuart Robinson, yeah.
Sorry. Yeah. Perfect.
Okay.
And Mark just told us that in 2020, talent took place, so why shouldn't it take place in 2021? So there will be some races taking place over the next summer.
Well, Tallinn was the first race I booked, not last year, the year before, to do it for last year. But then when things were changing, my wife was due to have our first baby in the summer. I decided that it'd probably be best to race in the UK. So I switched Tallinn to Bolton, because that's where I was going to look to try and break the 10-hour mark in Tallinn. So that could be an option if things.
Or maybe Daytona next year in Florida. It's interesting. We've heard some rumors that Challenge has done the PTO race in Daytona for a reason, and that they have a connection to the NASCAR guys. And having this access to the NASCAR courses makes it more likely that they are using the facilities all over the states. And some race was announced the other week, which is supposed to take place at a NASCAR place in 2021. So those races are maybe more easy to manage and to organize than just races on public roads. I don't know what they're doing with this here in Europe, but this is something also interesting for our members in the States.
Can I ask Mark a question? Is he?
Yeah. Mark just said it's in Miami, so they have another NASCAR race course taking place in Miami.
Mark, what do you think racing in the UK this year? Will you think it's going to happen or not?
I'm looking forward to see his answer. Sven tuned in the meantime. He also established a channel on Discord, which we can use during our bike rides. So if you're up for a little chat or want to talk about Team Zoot or whatever triathlon in our team relates to, feel free to join this channel. I have prepared a banner. This link is also in our Facebook group. You can just go through the most recent post and see the link from Sven in the history in our closed Facebook group. And Mark agrees, somewhere hopefully. And we have to stay optimistic anyway. So yeah. So I don't want to make this session too long. I was just thinking if I forgot to ask or anything. I reckon Ironman UK. No, what did he say? I reckon Ironman in UK. Nope, only time for style races. Yeah, this sounds reasonable. We haven't made any plans for the expo shows so far because it seems everything a little bit shaky at the moment, and we rather wait a little bit longer with making plans before we make plans that turn out not to be valid or feasible. So yeah, I mean, as soon as we will book any races, we will let you know. Yeah.
Well, I think
yes, please.
that Holker support me with the shoes, so they contacted the beginning of the year, and they were saying that they're hoping for summer and the autumn to be able to be at events again. I think the early spring race series and any mass events early summer and probably not going to happen. But there's a hope for things at the in the autumn, late summertime. So I think we will race this year. It's just when.
And maybe a question of the form or the type of competition, as Mark mentioned. Ironman is likely to just organize events in the first half of the year if they have a second date in mind for autumn. So it sounds likely that something will take place in autumn.
It's hard. It's hard with training at the moment because it's trying not to overtrain at the moment, so you peak at the wrong time, which could be early spring in summer. So it's trying to get the balance, but without knowing when a race is going to happen, it's quite a difficult scenario. I think if I don't get to race, I will do a race simulation again, like last year.
Just in order to have it like the peak point where you can train for and afterwards also detrain or get in some rest, right?
Yeah, because at the moment we're fearful that if I train too hard at the moment and that I'm going to peak too early and then not be able to race and fulfill the what I was after. So it's trying to get the timing of it all right again.
True.
Last year I simulated and I did the IRONMAN bike at home because we trained for IRONMAN and obviously all the races were cancelled. So in the summer I trained up to like race day and did a race simulation. So didn't do the swim, but we just did the full bike on the roads. I think I did 5.5 hours, which with traffic lights and stuff is solid.
Absolutely.
And then I did 20-mile goal Ironman pace, which was I think 6:52 miling, 4:15 kilometer pace, just under. And I got to 20 mile and I felt, I definitely had another 10K at that pace to break the 3-hour mark for the marathon on the Ironman. So that was quite pleasing. So, hopefully I won't have to do a race simulation this year. We'll actually get to race.
No, fingers crossed for this. And I think everybody is hoping for what you've just said, racing again and trying to not overtrain right now. I mean, it's tempting because I think a lot of people have time right now to train, even if it's indoors, they would have time to train. But still, it is better to maybe just not to dig too deep and keep some energy in the tank for the summer.
Yeah, and just time it. Probably you can train, but probably not go too crazy at the moment.
Yeah. Christian just tuned in. Sorry, Christian, we're just about to close the session, but it is after. It will be live after, or not live. It will be shown in the Facebook group afterwards, and because this should be it for this week's live session, I would say. I just want to repeat that we have our team ride tomorrow night taking place, so make sure to tune to participate. It's always fun to ride in a group and just to see what everybody else is doing. But so far. Thanks for joining us, Stuart.
Yeah, thank you.
Pleasure for having you.
Yeah.
And I would say, don't train too much.
And hopefully see you in the summer.
Yeah, true. Right. Bye-bye, everybody. Cheers.
Right.